We're here at the Stockade Convention Center, and I'm joined by Dwayne Friedrich and Greg Shalley of the Sask Alta Radio Club, the treasurer and the instructor for the club. And you're going to talk about different aspects of what you guys do with the students, but also you're set up here for the Bordering on Disaster conference from earlier this week. So kind of what do you see your guys' role in terms of dealing with disaster situations?
Well, one of the things we see with amateur radio is often a term used is when all else communication fails, or you hear some people say when the world goes silent. We have systems that will still communicate, and we're actually listening to some guys working, various people in Europe today, just on the one radio behind me. Our role in the city here is we actually have an operating radio station both for our local, what we call a 2-meter network, which is kind of a local in this area. Plus, we have one of these radios for HF or long distance haul work, if we want to call it that, Greg, set up right in the city of Lloydminster Station.
And so, as the instructor, do you work at all directly with people in emergency response, or do you deal mostly with civilians as well?
I'm dealing mostly with students, people that want to become involved in amateur radio and the different aspects of it. We run a course in Lloyd. We have one coming up shortly that will be running both in Lloyd and in Wainwright, both locations. And we train anybody that's interested in amateur radio. We give them the technical background they need. There's an examination, a federal license to operate radios. And we provide that through our training program. And if I could give the email address, dcjnd.frie@gmail.com. You could get more information on becoming a ham radio operator. Course runs from about the middle of October into the springtime.
And now, how would that work within an emergency situation? Like, what would the use of the ham radio provide in that? Can you kind of give us an example of how they would provide assistance in that scenario?
We provide communication and formal communication systems within the structure of the Emergency Command Center. We pass messages between the different locations. When you have an emergency response, it often isn't just one location, and we will take messages, put them into a format, transmit them, and also we're archiving them at the same time for analysis after the event is over.
And you guys would essentially provide a role for when there's cell tower problems, because often that has happened in many cases of a emergency.
Serious communication losses. We actually have a lot of people working on practicing networking, where 200 to 300 guys are talking to each other per day across the western provinces. And that's used in the States quite a bit too. It's major events like Hurricane Katrina and then even the Bahamas here.
Well, thank you again, gentlemen, for joining us today. You heard that email earlier. You can find more as well on their website. And back to the rest of your cast on Primetime Local News.